Want to give a big shout out to Blazing Amazing 08, one of our 8-bit heroes and our subscribers. Appreciate you, bro, and appreciate everybody that has clicked on this video. If you'd like to have your name shouted out on the next video, think about hitting that like button, maybe sharing the video, leaving a comment, and do us the biggest favor of all and the biggest honor of all, and subscribe so you can become a part of our 8-bit heroes family. That being said, it's time to get on with the video. Amazon Prime's Reacher. Is it just a retread of the Tom Cruise films, or does it stand on its own 2 feet? Let's talk about it. So Reacher is based on the debut novel Killing Floor by Lee Child, and its main character is, of course, Jack Reacher. Now, this series is essentially a crime mystery type action thriller. It has a lot of dramatic elements, and overall, I'd say it does well on all these fronts. As far as the mystery is concerned, it definitely takes a lot of noir elements and just the way that it tells this story. It definitely does the stranger enters a small town story very well in the vein of like a Yojimbo type story arc. Now, that being said, what are the performances like? Well, let's look at the cast first and foremost. So as far as the cast is concerned, we have very interesting picks. It's actually fairly, they're not newcomers per se, but they're not well known either. If you are a fan of certain shows like Smallville, then or anything in the CW realm, then some of these actors will look familiar. The lead, Alec Richardson, who actually is very, very believable as Jack Reacher because he more so embodies how the character is described in the books, more so I'd say than Tom Cruise does. He actually, was Aquaman in the CW Smallville. So, just keep that in mind going forward. He done come a long way since Aquaman. Now, also, we got Malcolm Goodwin as Oscar Finley. He's the chief detective of the Margrave Police Department, Margrave being the town in Georgia where this particular story takes place. You'll probably remember him from iZombie. Then we have Willa Fitzgerald as Roscoe Conklin, who is a police officer for the Margrave Police Department. And we have Bruce McGill as Grover Teal. Now, but he's basically the mayor of Margrave, if we're going forward with that idea, not to spoil anything. Now, so what makes this interesting is there's a lot of happenstance that brings a lot of these characters together. In particular, what brings Jack Reacher to Margrave is actually a blues song. Now, if you know anything about the character, you know that that's this character's favorite genre of music, so it's not that surprising. But for someone who doesn't know anything about the character or the source material, this might be a little strange, but just roll with it. Now, this runs at a lean 8 episodes, and Amazon's strategy for releasing these episodes was interesting because, most of the time with their series, they usually have a format of releasing maybe the first 3 episodes, and then in the subsequent weeks, you get 1 episode at a time. But this time, they just dumped the whole thing. And I thought that was interesting, and especially with this type of story, it felt like it was appropriate in this particular situation. Now, yes, you would have been talking about this series each week because almost every episode ends on a cliffhanger, but I feel like, especially for this being the first season, it might be appropriate, with the cast being not so well known, and even though the source material is fairly popular, being that it already exists in a different medium with a different actor, releasing the whole thing and making it bingeable was probably the best idea. Now, so how is the acting in this? Well, it's actually not bad. Everybody, for the most part, does a good job. I will have to say that there are certain parts where Alec Richardson is a little wooden, but I think that's how the character is supposed to be portrayed, but sometimes it just doesn't come off as believable in certain areas. But again, mostly good performances all the way through. Bruce McGill as Grover Teal, the corrupt mayor, like he does a fantastic job, but he's always good as like the Southern good old boy bad guy, and I really appreciate that. Now, what is surprising about this series is, as you can tell, it's starring a white male actor and character. Now, you know, that's not really something that Amazon does, not anymore. But I mean, I guess, you know, Jack Ryan exists on the platform, and I guess this was, you know, no exception. Plus the rest of the cast, you know, fills whatever, you know, diversity and inclusion that they wanted to fill. I actually appreciate the casting. The show isn't terribly woke, although it does have its moments here and there. The weaker performances actually are kind of interesting because they kind of throw off a little bit of the rest of the scenes. In particular, Reacher's friend Neagley, her performances are not fantastic. I don't want to say they're bad, but they're just kind of there, especially when we're bringing in the other actors, because like Malcolm Goodwin's Oscar Finley definitely has the most gravitas of all the actors, and he's kind of, even though he's not the main character, you're kind of rooting for him just because the performance is very well done. And I think he makes up for Alan Ritchson's woodenness on screen. Now, how are the action scenes? This is where this show really shines. What Alan Ritchson lacks in raw acting ability, he more than makes up for in physicality. I mean, when he goes into these fights, like these fights are reminiscent to like the fights in Banshee. That's how good they are. And I like the fact that they're not like always cutting away, like, you know, so that they can hide the stunt double and whatnot. Like they really do a good job in the fight. So that's definitely a positive. Other than that, I felt like the mystery was really cool and really believable. Like I say, not going to spoil anything as far as that's concerned. But I really did enjoy this. Also, if you haven't seen Kristen Creek, I think it's how you say her name, who was Lana Lang in Smallville, in a while, she's actually in this, and that's really cool. So, you know, something to look forward to if, you know, just in case you were a fan of that particular series. Now, the cinematography is good on this. The locations, definitely, as a person from Georgia, I can definitely tell you that all of the set pieces are very, very believable as far as you being able to say this was, you know, this happened in Georgia. So I thought that was good. Now, this series has been greenlit for a season 2, and I'm actually really happy about that. All the weaker moments in it, I feel like, will be handled in season 2 to a better degree. But as far as like a first season, this is definitely a good start. There's not a lot of filler episodes because it's only 8 episode season, and I appreciate that as well. So as far as score is concerned, we're going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. So guys, let us know what you thought about Reacher in the comment section below. You know, think about subscribing to the channel, smash that like button if you appreciated the review, and we're going to see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.